Hi everyone, thank you very much for stopping by and returning to the old world. Now, it's been announced at my club that we're going to be having a Necromunda campaign starting in July. It's something a little bit different. It should be fairly fun, narrative themed, and a chance for a lot of the quite serious 40k players to let their hair down a little bit and do something a touch silly. For me, it's a chance in part to relive the nostalgia of those games on the kitchen table with my dad when I was a kid with the original version of the game. And more recently, reliving those terrible memories I have of playing the two games I did of the previous version of the current rules. I've not played the current rules before at time of recording, where I played a couple of games and my gang got so badly ripped apart, it basically disintegrated. I'm hoping not to have the same luck again, but knowing me, there's a good chance things will go spectacularly wrong. But it should be fun, it'll be interesting to follow, and I'm going to make a few videos as we go along, charting the success of my gang. That being said, I think now is an excellent opportunity to meet the force that will represent me in the world of Necromunda. There's something about the Orlocks which really stands out. I love the aesthetic. Now, maybe that's a throwback to them really being in that original box back in the 1990s, along with the Goliaths. The Goliaths mostly now making up the forces of my cultists for a no longer massively often used army for Warhammer 40,000. There's a few of my original Orlocks seeing service as cultists as well. But I have picked up a box a little while ago now, and I think I have covered them before, of the new figures. I really enjoyed painting these. It was different to paint a bunch of individuals rather than looking at mass production. So that being said, I've had a bit of a look through the internet, done a bit of research. Hopefully I've pulled something together that's not completely terrible. And with that being said, let's meet the gang I'm going to be taking for my campaign, which I've named the Crimson Fist Motorcycle Club. This is the force led by Road Captain Big Dave. You can see him in the middle there. He's a blade breaker and got commanding presence. Everyone in the bar knows exactly who this guy is. Equipped for close combat, he's armed with a servo claw, a stub gun with dum-dum bullets, and mesh armor. Hopefully he survives long enough to get there, and I think from my limited research that servo claws don't scale very well because they don't really have great anti-armor, but hey, it should make him punch hard, at least in the initial parts of the game. He's flanked here by his two road sergeants, Sly and Scratch, both of them bullet dodgers with nerves of steel. They've seen some serious action. Sly here, you see, coming into hopefully focus. He's armed with a melter gun and a fighting knife. Now, if there's one thing I know about melter guns, is you really don't want to be hit with them, especially in the world of Necromunda. I'm hoping, as there are going to be things like Goliath floating around in this, that he will be able to turn people into goop fairly effectively. The other road sergeant, armed a bit more traditionally, with a heavy stubber and stub gun, putting down some long distance fire support for my forces that are trying to get to grips with the opponent and try to grab some objectives. As for those forces that will be trying to close the distance, here we see Venom, Greaser, and Flash Harry. Venom and Greaser are both gunners, so regular members of the gang. They're both armed with combat shotguns and stub guns for when the inevitable happens and they run out of ammunition just before someone comes to bonk them on the head. Flash Harry, the Juve, is armed with a stub gun and an auto pistol. He's one of the original Metal Orlock models from back in the day. And I think still really fits in actually with the current style, which I think is credit to the model designers the more recent things. You can ignore the vehicles, by the way, in the background. If we take things out to the ash waste, I've got some vehicles ready to go. These are old Orc war tracks and more buggies that you're seeing, but we'll worry about those if and when they become relevant. Finally, we have two more gunners. These are Little Dave and Twitch. They're both armed with auto guns. Part of my ranged units that will support Scratch and his heavy stubber in keeping people's heads down whilst the rest of the gang pushes forward to get into close and mid-range, ready to hopefully bring the pain to the opposition. Do I have faith in their ability to do this effectively? Absolutely not. This is Necromunda after all, and shooting, I'm led to believe, certainly from a distance, is not the most effective of things. However, there's going to be lots of things to learn, hopefully lots of fun to be had as we take the gang forward to glory, riches, or abject failure. Now, there is going to be still a little bit of time from this video going live to the start of the event, and that does give me a little bit of wiggle room when it comes to making some changes to my initial starting gang. I've got a test game coming up, and I think by the time this video goes live, I will probably have played that game and had a bit of experience with this particular force. But if there's anything leaping out at you around this gang, if you've got some wisdom that you'd care to impart, do please let me know down in the comments below. I don't think there's any really experienced Necromunda players amongst us, so it's going to be very much learn by doing, make mistakes, and try not to make them again. I hope that this video has grabbed your interest. It's going to be something that I'll be making periodic videos about as we go through the campaign. All that remains for me to say at this point is thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope that you find this topic entertaining. If you do, obviously the like and subscribe options are much, much appreciated, only costing a moment of your time and really help A, boost the channel, and also B, with the subscription, letting you know when new videos have been released. Thank you once again for listening. I am returned to the old world. Have a great day.